It's 5:30. Would you please stand? Dr. Pollard will lead us in the pledge.
Let's start with the American flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now Texas.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
And now a prayer for Mary Ann.
Okay. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this night. We thank you for our school. Please give us the wisdom and oomph to do the right thing for all the kids and all the staff. We want to thank you for everyone who helps with the school, who works here, who volunteers, who does every position. Please be with all of them. Please be with our kids, our students, and we just thank you for all of this. In Jesus' name, amen.
And before we start with the student recognitions, Miss Lee, this is her second to last meeting. And so we'll officially honor her at the next school board meeting, but she's done 7 3-year terms, plus another year on top of that, I think, right, Marianne? 22 years?
The first time I got elected was in May.
Okay.
So it's
22 years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a long time to be doing free volunteer work that oftentimes is stressful, and she's been through a lot of great times, a lot of stressful times, sad times, big building projects, big issues, and she's led in a very Christian way. And so we really appreciate you, Mary Ann. We're going to be sad to see you go.
Thank you.
But we'll honor you again next month. Thank you.
I'll have to come back so I can get Mr. Amen for what
Yes.
he just did to me.
Okay. We've got some student honorees tonight, and we'll start with the student recognitions and then the adults. But we've got a big group of students tonight that we wanted to honor because they are the FCA leads. They're the team leads. So the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, been around a long time, and these kids are getting a dose of what it's going to be like in church life when you're already really busy and they ask you to do something. And so isn't that always the way it is? The busiest people in church are usually the ones doing most of the work. Get the adults attest to that? And so they are heavily involved, as you hear these names, in athletics and extracurriculars and all kinds of fine arts and different things. They're the cream of the crop. They're great students academically. They're upperclassmen. Most of them have been doing lots of extracurriculars, and we're very proud of them, but especially proud of them for leading FCA. That's an important initiative for a lot of kids maybe that don't have a lot of interaction with church, and maybe these kids are their one kind of pathway to that. And it's truly student-led. You know, a lot of times adults will grumble and say, oh, that's probably some adult behind the scene doing it all. No, it's actually the kids are leading it, and they spend a lot of time planning it, and so we're very proud of them for doing that. You can probably catch a lot of these students at the Friday's prayer at the pole, a lot of other service-oriented activities, and they participate in a lot of different things. So these guys tonight, a lot of them just got done practicing, or they may not be here because they're already at practice still. But we'll go ahead and call their names out to see if they're here. Taylor Sanderson. Taylor, come on up. Hold the certificate, stand up here, and we'll take a group picture. We'll be quick, so you're not standing there awkwardly. Malin Roberts. And y'all can clap for them as they come up. Kaylin Avery. Paisley Wells. Probably doing cheer stuff. Landon Thomas. Amos Phillips. Gary Keaton. Those guys are playing football. And Seth Finley. Liz, do you want to take a picture with them? Oh yeah, Yancey, come on up. Yancey's been doing the FCA with these guys. He's been helping to coordinate. So. Oh, look at
Let's scrunch together so we don't show up.
All right, guys, thank y'all. All right. We have some adults to honor too. We had another medical emergency. We honored a medical emergency team last month at the intermediate that responded to a seizure. We had another student early in the school year at the junior high have a seizure. And you're probably wondering, well, why do you keep honoring these adults for the seizure stuff? Well, it's a big deal. When a kid has a medical emergency, that's very scary, and it's very unnerving, and sometimes you don't know how it's all going to play out. But these adults stay very cool, very calm, very collected, and a lot of them were very humble about it. They said, well, that's just part of our job, but yes, I guess it is in a sense, but also it's also very important that they react in a calm manner and get the kid help. So tonight I'll read a little bit about what they did. Specifically, a student started to have a seizure, and then teacher Jim Hitchcock quickly called nurse Stephanie Streetman and then moved his class to the library. Librarian Candy Garvin immediately welcomed those students, got everyone settled even though she was busy teaching a separate class in the library. Nurse Streetman recognized the signs of a seizure and kept the students safe. Officer Justin Bergen called the paramedics and met them at the front of the school. Assistant Principal Eric Herblin placed the campus on a hold for privacy and also met the paramedics. And Counselor Stacy Pruitt supported the students' parents when they arrived, helping calm their fears. Custodian Raymond Ramirez discreetly cleaned the area so the medical team could focus on the student. So all that quick thinking and all those actions by all those different people really helped to make it as good a situation as possible. And the young man's doing great now. He's fully recovered and doing well. That's the main thing. But during those scary moments, we've got people that are cool, calm, and collected. So let me call these guys' name up again. You all come up and get your certificate. Jim Hitchcock. Thank you, Jim. Stephanie Streetman. Candy Garvin. Justin Bergen. Eric Herblin. Stacy Pruitt. And Raymond Ramirez. This Penrod, would you come up too? Where's this?
Yeah, come on, Zeus.
Well, take a quick picture, then come up. Y'all squinch in.
Come on, Susie. Sorry to get James' picture here.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much.
Seeing that there were no public comments on agenda items tonight, we'll go to the consent agenda, minutes of the September 22nd meeting, financial statements as of September 30th, bills and payrolls for September 25, budget amendments, year-to-date budget amendments to fund balance, vital signs report, food service report. Does any board member want any of those items pulled? Do I hear a motion that we accept them? Okay, Cheyenne, second? Okay, Calvin, all in favor? All right, now we have some information items. We'll start with annual attorney report on collection of delinquent taxes.
I am pleased to announce or introduce Nicholas Getchy. He's coming from MVBA, and he's going to talk to us about our delinquent taxes. He's been working really hard for us to get those in, so I'm excited to hear what he has to say.
Thank you very much. Yes, sure. Thank you. All right, good evening, school board. Dr. Pollard, how are you all doing tonight? Good. I'm excited to be here. The last time I saw you was actually about a year ago. Robert Myers, your longtime tax attorney, was retiring. I think he brought me to the party last year, and this is actually really fun for me because Gatesville is probably the very first school district or account that I got to work on that was his. So it is kind of coming full circle, and I'm really excited to share with you what we've done this year. First, I'd like to introduce Shauna Fry. She is an MVBA employee. She offices out of the tax office right down the road. So if you have any complaints, don't call me, call her. All right. If we could flip over to page 3, please. I'm going to show you the most important page on here. This will show you your total revenue from tax collections for the last 4 years. And what you can see is we are consistently over 100% of revenue collected for Gatesville ISD. And that's because we collect, not only, you all collect the current taxes when they become due. About 3% of them aren't collected at that time. They become delinquent, we start collecting those, but you also get penalties and interest on previous years as well, which helps boost up over 100% for the last 4 years. If you flip the page with me, that will show you your cumulative tax collections for each of the levies for 24 through 2021. And you can see that as we tick up and go longer in years, we are collecting more and more. And that's expected because we have a little bit more time to work with these accounts and get people to pay. Next page shows you the delinquent tax collections by our firm. This shows what was turned over to us at each stage of the year. So again, about 3% of your levy each year is turned over as delinquent, which wasn't paid on time. For the first 2 months of 2024, your fiscal year obviously ends at the end of August, so we got these July 1st, and in 2 months we were able to collect about 31% of those taxes. And for the other tax years at issue, we've collected between 71 and 85% over 4 years. So that's good. You'll see the 2024 number next year when I come back tick up hopefully to around that 71 to 85% number as well. If you could flip over to the next page. This will show the delinquent collection status of the 2024 taxes. You can see that we've collected that 31.16% in the red. And then in the darker gray, you can see what we're working on. That's our lawsuits and judgments and our research. So we are working on almost everything you've got. And then we've got a few items in light gray there that are just uncollectible. They're bankruptcy, deferrals, different items that we can't collect. So at the moment, those are uncollectible. If you flip the next few pages, it's the same report. It just shows you a breakdown of what we've collected, what we're working on, and what is uncollectible. And again, we hope these numbers continue to trend up as more and more years go by and we collect more of your taxes. If we go to page 9, this shows the total outstanding delinquent balance for Gatesville ISD. So as of August 31st of this year, you had $474,000 outstanding in delinquent taxes. This will show you the breakdown of what we're working on, what's uncollectible, what's bankruptcy, and give you an idea of where we're spending our time to collect the taxes. Below that, you can see a breakdown by tax year. And again, if you look at 2015, 2016, 2017, very small numbers. By the time we get 10 years beyond, even 5 years beyond, it's a very small number. We've collected most of it. So we hope that these numbers, as we add years, will look just like this moving forward. If you flip to page 11, this shows some of the collection activities we've done for the year. You'll see total notices mailed, 765 on 909 properties. We had 56 lawsuits on 68 properties. We took 6 judgments in court on 8 properties. And we actually posted 7 properties for sale, but we only had to sell 2 of them. The rest got paid or pulled. So you see down below that, it's a little dial. I like to say that this is kind of the leverage we have. Most people will pay when the tax is due on the left-hand side, and then we ramp up that dial as pressure is needed. And we don't hope we ever have to get to tax sale, but sometimes we do have to do that. But this is kind of an idea of what we do. We make initial contact first with them. If that doesn't work, we'll file a lawsuit. Most of the time that will work. If that doesn't work, we'll take a judgment, and then final recourse is selling a property, which we don't like to do, but sometimes we do have to do. And then finally, we just have our bankruptcy page at the end on page 12. We do file into bankruptcies as well. Some people aren't paying because of that, but we're monitoring all of that and taking care of any bankruptcies that come our way as well. And then on the back page, you've got my contact information, you've got Shauna's contact information, and you can reach us at any time. I'm happy to answer any questions y'all have.
I think this looks great.
Oh, thank you.
You did a great
Thank you.
job.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to see y'all again. Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, that was easy enough.
Yeah, not too bad.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Reasons for a full renovation of the Gatesville Junior High School auditorium.
So this, during the discussion of our upcoming bond election, this is something that comes up frequently, is whether or not we should renovate the old auditorium. And so tonight we have a few of the folks from the junior high to talk to us about it. And they kind of got together and crafted this little paragraph too, just some reasons, and we'll let them pitch in as well. But just to go over a few of them, one of them being the driving force behind the revision is to get kids to have to not go across the street anymore, walking across Marshall, because that creates a safety issue because they're in a vulnerable position. But anytime an activity requires stage practice or performance, they've got to walk over to the high school. In addition, the junior high auditorium is used daily for a variety of reasons. For example, all students gather in the auditorium before the first bell sounds. It acts as a holding space for tennis, band, choir, and theater. Social studies intervention takes place in the auditorium daily. The principals conduct Monday morning meetings in that space. The Spanish class has their performances and demonstrations in the auditorium. Parent meetings for clubs and athletics occur there. NJHS uses it for rehearsals. And then moving forward, if it gets renovated, all the special events would be in the auditorium. And the auditorium is where all the end of year awards currently take place for junior high and intermediate. Intermediate started using it. And it's also, they made a point of saying it's the first space that parents and visitors see when you enter the campus. So it kind of makes the impression upon people. And currently it's kind of a little bit visually unappealing and somewhat impractical for use because the seats are broken and kind of uncomfortable, hard wooden narrow seats. And so I think their plea would be to update it. So junior high, do y'all have anything else to add? Uh-oh, Candy wants to say something.
I was preparing myself in case.
Go ahead, Candy.
Do I need to stand? Or?
It doesn't matter, Candy,
Okay.
either way.
I think I shall just sit. We really, and this is my second year on that campus, and we use it often, and this year we're using it daily for primetime purposes. We use it every morning, like you said, before school, but it is unfortunate that the acoustics in there are terrible. We cannot hear anything with the microphone, even our megaphone, anything that we use to project sound. We used it Friday afternoon for a big SNAP fundraiser push, and so Mr. Hall was up in front talking to the students, but it's so, the sound is so terrible, you can't really hear what he's saying, you can't hear the kids. You can hear the kids, but you can't hear them. It really truly needs to be renovated for a lot of purposes, and one of them too is, today, it's just kind of ironic, Bren ran into a chair and cut up her leg. It's not bad by any means, but she's got scratches now, had blood. So the seats are falling apart, they're bad. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, sure. I think probably, you guys don't know me, I'm Bill Bryan, I'm a science teacher over at the junior high, but I also run the National Junior Honor Society, the Science Club. I sit in on the security council when we talk about things, and probably my biggest role as a parent, because I got a daughter that goes to the high school over there, but she was in the junior high for the last couple of years. And my role as a teacher, really, when parents send their kids to school every day, is safety. That is our contract with those kids. We want to send them back home every day. And I guarantee you that every school in the United States that ever had a school shooting never thought that it was going to happen that day. Just like we don't think it's going to happen over here. And we hope and pray to God that it does. But we put our kids in danger every single day, walking across that street over there at a scheduled time. Anybody that ever has to do is like, okay, I know exactly what time they go over there, run a car right through them. There's nothing that we can do about it. If we renovate that auditorium, that's going to help keeping the band over there, the choir over there, the theater over there. We can do our NJHS ceremonies, all the practice rehearsals over there, keep the kids over there in the morning. And I think that's our #1 priority, is to make sure that our kids get home safe to their parents every day. That is the contract that we have with them. It overrides learning, athletics, anything else that you can think of, it's their safety. And I think that's what we really need to keep in mind when we think about that.
Well, thank y'all. Yeah, the question's been posed to me, and y'all know it so well because you live over there. You know all the different things you do. I know it gets used, but I couldn't ever articulate exactly all the different things that y'all do, so I'm glad y'all came to tell us. Eric, Susie, anything else about it? Or?
No, it's just that it'll be used even more so if we were to make it usable.
Yeah.
I mean, we already do the best we can with what we have. The seats are dangerous. I mean, Raymond, who y'all just honored, he got a big old gash in his leg from just trying to clean in there. And he caught his leg on one of the seats that was broken, and it splintered out and the whole bit. So it's definitely a need.
We even had a student this morning get a leg caught in the chair before class started, and you had to help him up out of that. And in addition to that, even the stairs leading up to the stage are starting to splinter and crack, and we're one false step away from a staff member going up on the stage during an award ceremony, or a kid stepping up on the stage during the ceremony from that causing some issues as well. So there's a lot of safety concerns just within the auditorium itself that would benefit from a full renovation.
Thank you, guys. Board, questions for them or anything?
But it is also that they're going to work on acoustics in there, because I was in there last year for the award ceremony, and like you said, it was awful. I didn't hear anything. I can hear anything.
Yeah. It's hard to hear.
We're in a situation where we have a limited amount of funds. We don't want to go to our community and ask them for a tax increase. And one of the sales things on our bond is going to be that we're doing this because, number one, we have good credit, and we really paid off the elementary in a very timely way. And so that fund balance also allows us, all of those good things that we have going financially, allows us to do quite a few things without having to ask the taxpayer for a raise, which is very positive in a bond. So here's my question about the auditorium. When I was in the 8th grade, I moved from the school over above the swimming pool to the 8th grade. The principal came on and said, everyone pick up your desk, and they weighed about 100 pounds, and haul it to the bus loading area. So we were all hauling our desks there and drop them off so the bus people could load them on the buses after school was out and take them over there. This all happened during the Christmas holidays. We had our last meeting in December at the old high school and the new one. And we were all really excited, because if you saw what we had to perform in over there, it was an old beat up gym that the stage was used for a weight training area. It was almost impossible to do a performance. So when we moved over to the high school, the band hall and the choral room were connected to the stage, and there was a large folding door so you could just walk onto the stage and practice and walk back. That's all been covered up. I don't know where that happened, but here's my question. I'm going to go fast. Do we want a really state-of-the-art meeting area where kids can have assemblies, we can have holding, we can have all kinds of things that go on in there that benefit the community and make it look really good with good acoustics? Or do we want to also spend a lot of money making that a performing arts theater? Then you're moving into the area of sound, completely overhauling sound, lighting, curtains, sound booth, technical equipment to run sound, video screens, all of those things. So once we moved over there, when I was really young, we had a really nice auditorium at the high school, and our band performances and our choral performances and theater performances continued at the high school because the junior high theater wasn't large enough to hold them. And number two, we discovered right off the bat that the acoustics were so bad that nobody could really hear in there. It's been that way for 1,000,000 years. So my question is, if the band and the choir and the theater folks want to have their concerts in there, and we want to make that a concert venue, that's a different kind of expenditure than getting it ready for a really nice meeting venue or holding venue or awards assemblies. That really requires a good sound system, some nice seats. The space stays the same size. So that's the kind of input I would like. We have spent a massive amount of money making that high school theater just an amazing place to perform. It has outstanding seating, cushioned rocking chairs, state-of-the-art sound system, lighting system. I don't see the choir and the band having separate performances because they like to have their kids all together so they can hear each other. So I just would like to know if you'd be fine with making that a really, really, really nice activity center where the kids can come together and have all kinds of assemblies. Teachers could go in and have media and have all kinds of interactive lessons in there. Or do we want to take the next step and really say, okay, that's going to become the junior high performing arts center? So I'd like to spend all of that money that it would require to make it. You're talking about probably needing carpeting or some kind of flooring. You're going to need, a whole new lighting system, battens in the back, new curtains, all of those kinds of things. You're really talking about a lot of money. Was it really expensive to do the high school? Glad we did it because the concerts there are just absolutely hugely attended. We have the advantage of having probably one of the most incredible 4A fine arts programs in the state. I mean, the band and choir are just, and we hear that the new theater director is going to be really, really good. So the only time I would see maybe having to go over to the high school was if it was like a final rehearsal for a concert, and that might be after school, or you could shuttle them over. So I don't know if you understand what I'm saying or not.
I understand what you're saying.
There's two ways to look at it. If you make it a really, really, really fine performing arts center, there are two drawbacks. Number one, it's small. It wouldn't hold the crowd for a high school and a junior high performance combined. And number two, I'm not sure that the teachers would want to limit the concert just to a junior high event because they do a lot of back and forth.
It sounds like something I probably need to get Sharif and Jose and Jake here to talk about that.
Of course, they'd like to have a performing arts center.
Yeah. They know that we can't afford the standalone building. Mary Ann, what do you say?
I think the most important thing is exactly what, sir, you said. Is the traffic of the kids going across. When you drive by in the middle of the day and you see all that, it's just, it's scary. And that's exactly the first thing that the biggest thing that stands out to me is the safety of the kids not having to do that. My kids did it, and back then you didn't have what you mentioned over and over and over and over and over. And that's exactly right. There's a certain time that it happens, and it's very uncomfortable to even consider that could be something, or hopefully it would never be anything. So whether it's state of the art or something that we work for later, I think it needs to be done.
The thing that alleviates the movement is that we're going to build a band hall that the kids rehearse there, and a choir room where the kids rehearse where. So the back and forth in the building is already we've already taken care of that.
But they could use that area.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Mike Boyle is here. Mike, come on in. Mike's the lead architect from Huckabee. So Mike, I hope you've been listening to this.
I have, yes.
So what is the distinction then, I guess, money-wise between what Mr. Ament's saying, a kind of a nice meeting area versus a state-of-the-art performing, we're going to have the whole kit and caboodle right here?
Well, a lot of times what you'll see at a middle school or junior high level is it's a step down from maybe what you would do at a high school campus. So there might be some way to kind of address an in-between state where you could have some performances. Maybe it works for smaller scale events, but it's not going to be trying to replace or compete with what you have at the high school. So as we get into the design process, we can evaluate what your options are given the existing space and put together some pricing options. And then the board, you'll be able to kind of weigh those and consider, how do we prioritize? Because your list of needs is always going to, needs and wants are going to exceed your budget. And so it's just a matter of kind of figuring out where that sweet spot is to address as many of those things as you can at any given time.
So the crowd knows the evolution of kind of what we wanted. The first iteration was, it was three things: the junior high, renovating it, the field house, and then the press box, switching it from home and visitor side. Then along the way, we picked up a lot of ancillary things. There were requests for a covered practice field, a standalone performing arts center, turfs for baseball, softball, a new track. Then we started looking at the football turf. Ooh, it's in bad shape too. So then we get all these different things. So the one thing, like Mr. Amon said, that stands firm is the 26 million. We got to stay below that in order to get it to pass. So strategically, what I guess the last rendition, of course, these guys won't vote on this until February the 9th is when we'll call for the bond. Because up until then, y'all can speak very freely about any of this stuff. You're not handcuffed by those legislative rules. You can say, go vote yes. After February 9th, you have to just state facts. And so we don't want to handcuff ourselves until then. But the last thing that we kind of landed on was for 26 million, we could do all of the junior high, including the auditorium and the field house, and that's it. And then that we couldn't do the press box anymore because that was going to go over the amount. And we learned from our legal counsel that the field house does not have to be listed separately from the junior high. That by law it can be together. So it doesn't have to be two separate things. So that helps, I think, strategically the field house because now it's with the junior high. If we had done the press box, that would have had to have been a separate line item. And it's a little bit maybe more adult oriented and less kid oriented. But the good news is that if we could just get past the major hurdle of the voters saying yes to the field house and the junior high, we also have some money in the piggy bank that we've got some money to play with to where we're going to have to start addressing some of these other things like the track and the turfs and those different things. And so, but we don't have to do it all at once, but we've got money. Any other comments about Ben? So then does everybody, so kind of right now, the last thing that we've landed on is that it's for 26 million, it's the junior high and the field house. The field house alone is like 8, I think of that. And then the junior high, and then we would try to use money to do different things like the press box really isn't that expensive of a deal. Probably more pressing than the press box is the geological concerns around the football stadium. The Hornet Hills are melting and mudsliding onto the track and the turf. That's part of the reason why the turf lifted up in the water and moved a little bit. And so we've got to geologically fix some of that stuff too. That's probably, I'd say that might be more pressing than anything, is the hills.
Also the football field, this is how old I am, is built on an old landfill.
Gatesville's a great place.
I remember all the trash there.
Yeah.
Is that why it's melting?
I know it's not why it's melting. That's because they built that berm.
We're going to put that on a t-shirt. The football field is built on a landfill.
So what I'm confused. So what you're saying now, that the field house will be connected with
the junior high project.
And the press box.
Press box is off the, press box will have to be something out of fund balance if we do.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think strategically with the voters, I've not really heard anyone say anything negative about the junior high or the field house. We've had a little bit of, well, we like to see the setting sun. We'll stare into the sun. I don't get it, but some people like to see the sunset as they fry on the first side. But I've not run into anybody that doesn't agree that the field house is atrocious. The junior high is turning 60 and it needs to be redone. But it also includes that parking lot in front of the junior high, which would help with baseball and auditorium usage. Because right now when you have a baseball game, ooh, the parking is terrible. So having a big, nice parking lot right there in front of the junior high will help too.
Another,
Go ahead.
no, ladies first.
Okay. Okay. So the question about the junior high auditorium's gonna be done.
Right now with 26 million, that might, correct me if I'm wrong, gets a nice big renovation of it.
So we'll go through and evaluate. Right now, definitely it addresses acoustics and kind of audiovisual pieces of that scope. It could include some level of lighting. I think where the question is right now is how much further does it take us? Does it allow for all of the seat replacement? Does it allow some other aesthetic enhancements, things like that? And so it's not necessarily something you need to decide tonight. It's something we'll evaluate as we get into the building and really just start to assess the existing conditions and what we have to work with in terms of the existing bones and structure and what the options are. And then we can look and evaluate that as we progress forward. And eventually you'll have a construction manager that will come on board as well, and they'll assist us and be part of the team. And so they'll be able to look at it from constructability perspective and cost and really weigh in on that as well.
So it is on the list to be done. It's just whether it's gonna be,
What level?
To what level?
what.
The seats
Okay.
are pretty important.
Yes.
Yeah, this
I mean,
doesn't
that's
cover the
like-
seats though, did it,
So I think as we take out some of the athletic pieces like you're talking about, we haven't gone back to double check the numbers to see how far down the road that gets us. So I don't want to overpromise right now until we've had a chance to really dive into the design and the costs as that relates.
Currently, how many sections do you have in grade 6
10.
homeroom? So what would you do with those vacated classrooms?
Oh, I have big
Big
So
ones.
the sixth grade hallway would become, because right now we have, so on the fourth grade hallway, you've got ESL and dyslexia. On the fifth grade hallway, you have some resource classes. So they're kind of just dispersed throughout the building. So that would become a special programs. We have some offices that are in the library. So if a diagnostician needs to test, they have to bring a child through the library, or if we have CPS, if they're looking for a space. So we would be able to relocate all of those special programs onto one hallway and also have a second conference room for needed if there were 2 staffings or some of those other types of things. And so that's what the bulk, and then those other classrooms would give us room to grow, to have some intervention spaces, because I'm hopeful on down the line as we start looking how we evaluate how we use some of our paras, getting rid of paras through attrition to bring on certified teachers to provide some of those interventions that we know our kiddos need. So
that's one of the things we need to make sure the community understands, that you have really good plans for that, and it sounds like they are.
I have a map.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
Now, my question was in that is including that they're gonna have to renovate the cafeteria and get a new library.
Correct.
Okay.
The junior high is a pretty big project. Getting rid of the portables, connecting the main building to the Mary Bishop gym, lots of new restrooms. The current restrooms are not ADA compliant and they're pretty bad. So it'll get a nice facelift.
Could we get rid of Eric Herbley too? Is he here? Oh.
He already left.
Dr. Pollard, one thing though is that in this renovation, I think we need to be ADA compliant. We have students who are unable to get to the stage safely because the incline is so steep, and her walker, she's not able to navigate that. And kids can't, who have been in wheelchairs, they will straight down if there's not someone, holding them back. And then again, going up on the railings, we've had, well, she's now retired, but we had a teacher last year trying to get up on the stage, holding the railings wobbling, the steps are giving. So even if we were to just do just brand new seats, well, they're gonna sit there, but nobody that, ADA, they can't get up there. They can't use it. If you're a little bit older and you are struggling with your walking, you're not gonna get up on that stage. So those are important parts of being able to use the auditorium.
And that old maroon curtain, and it's pretty bad.
I don't know, it's got character.
All right, thank you all. Anybody else have a question on the renovation? Community engagement plan regarding the bond election.
Well, that leads right into Tracy.
I was like, segue.
Yeah,
we
Tracy.
are going to talk about how these decisions can really be firmed up.
So for you guys, do you have this one from the board packet? But I still brought another copy if y'all needed it. So no hard copies.
We can project it up here.
Thanks.
So Tracy Marlin is part of the PR marketing firm portion of Huckabee. And so she lives right there in McGregor. So she's close, comes to visit me frequently. And she's going to help us with the strategy of trying to plan on how to market and sell the bond to the public.
So my background, I've worked in public schools for 18 years. I was director of communications for 13 of that, and passed some bonds and some vaders, and then went into it full time. So I want to bring to you those processes that help get you in the best place possible for moving forward. So can I actually bring, this is a detailed version, but can I do the slide deck
You bet.
version? And do you want me to just say next when I get there?
You sure can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I have for you is a skeleton of what a community engagement plan looks like and the importance of it. We can go there, yeah. Which is how we take into all these perspectives into decision-making processes and all the things that you've heard tonight. So we start with trying to build a shared understanding. What are the needs? What are the situations? What are the preferences? What are the requests? Even what is the shared understanding that we have of tax situation and your budget and things like that. And we want to make sure that the more people we have involved in that process, they're all also able to go out and speak about it. It doesn't rest on just your shoulders. So we want to engage some people to really understand what are the issues, what are the needs, what are some possible solutions. Then once we are able to collectively make some decisions, we can start preparing for the election and laying the groundwork for what are the insights, where are the talking points, what are the issues that people really want to know. Kids aren't crossing the street anymore. We are not looking at the sun anymore, and that part's not in. But anything like that. What are the concerns from the community they really want to know? And then ensuring input from all voices. So seeking perspectives is always going to lead to healthier decision making, and make sure that we're really building trust and transparency with the community throughout this whole process, because what we ask for them in the end is to take care of their kids and their money. So y'all have done basically this first quadrant already, the planning, the initial assessments to gather input. There's still some more floor plans and information going into it, but y'all have done quite a bit of input on gathering all of the possible projects and the clear objectives of what things you want to replace and things you need. What I'm recommending to you next is this dialogue portion, where we really take time to meet with the stakeholders on different perspectives and build a really solid plan by hearing from them on the front end, not on election day. And we will use that to refine and have a community alignment of what we think collectively is the most important and how we're going to route that. We have a bunch of really great tools for engagement to prioritize the different types of projects. Not only do you hear what people like, but you hear the strength of their opinions. So we want to know, I strongly feel that we need this, not just, yes, I would vote for that, type of thing. And then that leads to the board action. And so that is the point where y'all get to make your big recommendation and say, this is what we want to bring to the community. So if we were to look at the timeline for what that would look like. So as y'all saw before, we talked about having the overlaid design process along with pre-bond planning. That's what this is, the pre-bond planning. So all the way from now till February, you have time to have these community engagement sessions, listen and hear what your community said, and then take all that into perspective to really refine your final bond package. And so if we'll go to the next one. This is primarily centered around a few specific activities. The first is October 29th, and that is your design committee. Mike will be here leading, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't even know what that's for. That's an alarm for me to be somewhere at some point. The design committee would be digging in deep to this junior high discussion. So this is making sure we have representatives, parents, staff members, even some students, teachers, and trustees that would like to be involved to really dig in deep to what does the scope of this look like, what do the levels of these look like, what are the special situations look like, and identifying those requests and concerns, and the design team can move forward with what options there are to solve those problems. The next committee meeting is a different group of people, a little bit of overlap,
And this is a very large community focus group. So this is in lieu of a traditional bond committee that might meet over the whole fall semester to come in, and we would have some sessions to talk about, here's what we want to talk about, finance. I would particularly like to have a group focus on the situation with the county taxes and how that might affect people's thinking about school districts and school district taxes and a bond. This would also have a group that could look at what the design committees came up with and give their feedback from a different perspectives, and be able to provide for you, this is that prioritization time and identification of red flags, heartburn areas, lightning rods, whatever we might need to know before moving into a bond election. This is one thing also is we really want some unaffiliated taxpayers in that process, maybe 65 and up who don't have kids in school anymore, people who vote and maybe aren't in the day-to-day cycle of school to know what's going on. Then throughout all of this, you all have a role as well through all of it. You can participate in all of those, you can observe all of those, we just need to know if there's going to be more than 3 of you. And then we would be reporting back to you on those activities throughout the next board meetings. So November 18th would be an update on the activities. December 15th would be a summary report from everything the committees said for your consideration. At this time, you would have ongoing dialogue of what that looks like in a final bond package for you, with a recommendation from your administration on January 26th about a possible bond election. And then February 9th would be a special call meeting to call for an election, should you choose. That is before the deadline that is that Friday. As Dr. Pollard said, the advantage of this timeline is this gives you all that community engagement time to listen to people, to talk to people, to hear from them and explain. A lot of times explaining why a decision is made could come across as advocacy when all you're really saying is, this is why we think this was the best solution. And so we have an opportunity to share those best solutions before you can only say, it's this many square feet, it's this much money, it's 18 seats or whatever we're gonna, 1,800 seats, whatever we're gonna say. So this is the plan for getting all that feedback, putting together those activities and building tools for you in your decision making. So as you heard tonight, there's a lot to consider. There's a lot moving forward. I think that this is a plan that could facilitate per your prayer tonight, the wisdom and the oomph for moving forward with your bond election.
So in summary, how many committees are going to meet? 2 committees. One that will be focused on 6th grade design specifically, okay. Very architectural driven, very specific design work. The other is... That's the 29th. Mm-hmm, yes, sir. And the other would be a much larger community committee where you're getting a lot of perspectives from different angles on different topics, not just the design, but all the elements of a bond election. Maybe a community forum. Mm-hmm. Yes. Any further questions? Thank you very much. Summer feeding. This is all exciting.
It is. I wanted to come and let y'all know how our summer feeding went this past summer. We were able to serve 10,823 meals. We conducted that over a 38-day period through June and July. It is down some from the prior year. I think the biggest reason for that is in the past we had 2 kitchens open. We had the elementary kitchen open and the high school kitchen open. And this past summer we only opened the elementary kitchen, and at the high school we just served meals to the athletic kids that were doing camp and stuff like that. We didn't have a whole lot of kids coming in, so they could all go over to the high school, over to the elementary to eat, but we didn't have 2 locations open. But we still served at the pool, we still served over at Trinity, and so we, as we normally do, we did not quite break even. It cost us about $3,200. We went in the hole $3,200, but of course our additional money that we make for 240 pays for that. So we were very excited that we were able to serve over 10,000 meals to kiddos this summer. Any questions on that?
Good job.
Yeah.
Woohoo. Okay. Any more? We'll move on along to primary receives Purple Star designation.
All right, so last year, we talked about all 5 of our campuses applying. And so whenever we got our first initial, hey, primary got the designation, we were almost certain that every single one of them would have gotten it. And so only 98 campuses in the state of Texas got it this year, and 8 of which were in Region 12. So the only one of ours that made it was primary. So instantly, I'm going to Dr. Lay, who is overseeing, all of this, and I'm telling him, like, I need some feedback. Like, what is the difference between primary and all of our other campus, designation applications? What was the problem? And so I'm a little frustrated because I don't have information specifically about each single campus. They basically said that our website requirements were the primary barrier. And so we were in a transition of sorts. We changed our platform for our GISD website. But whenever I'm asking specifics, they're like, we had difficulty locating this information. And you guys, if any of you guys know me, like, I'm a stickler on things. And so if you give me a list of things, I'm going to make sure that they're all there. So again, we really struggle with, they looked at the same information for the primary school that they did all the other campuses. But again, primary got it and none of the other ones did. So this year, of course, we still have a goal. So instead of working on 5 of them, we're going to work on 4. Primary, very sheepishly, they're like, why did we get it and they didn't? And so I struggle with that answer myself. But just knowing that there were, I think I heard that there were over 250 applications just in Region 12 alone. So, and it is a campus-specific thing. It's not just a district thing. So, whatever the rules and regulations and the rubric they used, I think is probably going to come down to just, some graders graded more harshly than others. I wish I had better answers for you, but I don't. And the feedback that I got, like I said, was just very minimal. So, they just mentioned the direct access and difficulty to locate things. And I love the, there was one point that said it required multiple clicks to get to information. So, I mean, that's the life of the internet. I don't know how else to explain that one. So, anyway, we are excited that primary got it. They are going to do a kind of an unveiling of their banner because they are able to. It's a really pretty purple logo. And so they're in the process of getting a banner made. They're going to unveil it in November, whenever they're going to have a family event in November to celebrate military families. So that's the update.
We're proud of that.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we are. Again, 8 out of the whole district, and some regions didn't even didn't have any. So we'll leave that at that.
Yeah.
So we'll still work on it.
Yeah.
We're down to 4. Okay. And then our next piece is the Emergent Bilingual Program Evaluation. Do you have a clicker that I might borrow for this one?
Yeah.
Thanks. This is something that I have to do, or we have to do every year. And so we're not really looking at this year necessarily, but we are looking at some information from last year. I think. Okay. All right. So just some basics. This is a required piece where this is basically a program evaluation that we are required to do to provide to the board. So that's all of that in technical jargon there. Some basic information. ESL is English as a second language, and EB is also known as an emergent bilingual. So anytime you see the word EL and EB, they are the same. But EB is anybody who is acquiring English and has another language that they use in their primary or in their home. Okay? And then, of course, our goal is to get these kiddos up in equivalency and get their language proficiency up so that they can do as well as any other kid that does not have a second language. So these numbers here at the top, this is actually for right now. So if you'll look, you've got 157 kids that are currently enrolled, and you also have 29 that are monitored. Monitored kids are those kids who have done well enough on 2 different tests, and that they are actually exited and reclassified. So they're no longer considered, but they are being monitored as far as their grades go. If they, tend to fall back, then we can actually pick them back up into the program if need be. But you'll notice that this year, again, this data is for this year at the very bottom, 25-26. We have 186 kids within the district that are qualifying for the ESL program. We do actually have, out of that 157 right now, we actually do have 5 that are denials. That is parents can deny services. So basically what that means is whenever these kids are going to the class to get this more intensive understanding, these kids are still required to take the state test, the TELPAS test, but they're not in the program to actually learn. And again, that's a parent thing, and we try our hardest to get them to stay in the program. And a lot of times, it is, my kid knows English. They know enough. So what TELPAS does, though, for those of you that are not in the know, reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So it's not just they know English. So there's so much more to it. Okay? So on to that. So again, I just mentioned that, and they're also rated beginning, intermediate, advanced, and advanced high. So these new babies that are in kinder and first grade, they're rated by their teachers. So this is like a holistic rating. They look at the classroom, they observe what they're doing, they have conversations with the kids, and that's how those kids are rated. But your 2nd graders through your 12th graders, it's an online test that takes 2 days. Okay? And again, the goal for this TELPAS testing is basically they do well enough, they score well enough to get advanced high on their composite score, so overall. And of course, our goal is always going to be growth. So when you're looking at this information, you're kind of seeing there the composite results. Again, the kids get 4 scores. So reading, writing, listening, and speaking for all of those. But again, you'll notice the first-time test takers, they don't have a way to show growth at that point. But you'll notice, we have a big group of kids that are staying the same. And so again, that's not able to necessarily show growth in a composite score. However, the kids can show growth, within a section. Maybe they didn't do as well in writing this last year, or maybe they didn't like speaking into the microphone, or maybe it was muffled and they didn't make a whole lot of sense, or maybe they just gave up. So there are a lot of different pieces to this. And again, that does not include your kindergarten students because they're not tested that way. So this is your STAR results. So this is the different test. This is their reading STAR test that they take toward the end of the school year. And in order to reclassify, if you're in grades 3 through 10, you have to not only hit that advanced high on TELPAS, but you also have to either approach, meet, or master your STAR reading test, or your end of course if you're in high school. Okay? So if you'll notice there, there are a lot of anything that is in yellow, approach, meets, or mastered. Those kids are potential reclassifiers as long as they hit that advanced high. The did not meets, that's a big number. That's about 42 students. Okay, so when people say they know English, okay, some of that is, there's some proof of they're not knowing what they need to know in order to be successful just yet. Okay? So again, we talked about reclassification. If you have a kiddo in 1st, 2nd, 11th, and 12th grade, those grades are not tested for STAR. So they have another test that those kiddos take, and it's called the Iowa, and they have to score 40% or higher in 2 areas, so both reading and then language for the lower kids, lower grade level kids, or the written expression for 11th and 12th graders. So we actually did have one student this last year scored the 40%, but again, he did not meet on his end of course, and so he was not able to reclassify and exit the program. But you'll notice there at the bottom, you do see that we did have 12 reclassifiers this last year. So you see that we did have in the 1st grade some of them that did have the holistic testing, and then they also had the Iowa test that they met those requirements. So we are seeing some progress in that regard. Then you get into your staff. So again, by law, you're also, we're required to have ESL certified staff members. And there are our updated numbers for the teachers who are actually ESL certified on each campus. We do provide some testing opportunities as far as the teachers can take the test. Region 12 offers a lot of, like staff development for them to do. They have 2 and 3 day programs, for that, all of that. And then we're also just trying to, a lot of good practices are just good practices. They don't have to be geared toward ESL, because ESL and your lower language learners and your lower kids, they're all going to benefit from using those strategies. So some of the professional development that took place last year, again, we had 9 of our district employees who took the 1 and 2 day training at our region center, and 4 of those 9 have actually taken the test and passed. So we are making some progress in that regard. We have a lot of different professional development, like I said, that takes place at Region 12. And then staff members that are in ESL, they have to attend LPAC, they have to attend their TELPAS training. We have directors meetings, and those are ongoing all throughout the year. And then we also had a junior high teacher and one of our new ESL teachers attend the Title III Symposium in San Antonio this summer. Okay, good. So this is Jess Hauser and Jane Wynn as well. And so, they were able to bring back some really good teaching strategies and ideas to help not just your EV kids, but all kids. So one of the things that we did last year, we sent out, and this was kind of through the instructional coaches, but we had 5 or 6 of these content-based language instructions, what they call CBLIs. And like I said, this is a language approach. It's just a little 1-pager that they could take and use and see if they're using it. And it works with kindergarten, and it works with freshmen, and it works with seniors. It doesn't matter the grade level if they are not exactly where they need to be as far as language goes. It'll help. So we utilized these last year as a help in the event that it's kind of like a short PD. Read through it, and then this is something that you can utilize in your classroom. So we have 3 different programs that we use as kind of intervention, and we want to make sure that it is a supplement. It is not the actual ESL class. But one of these is the Imagine Learning and Literacy, and this is something that is used at the primary school. And it does have information just for our littles. So they use an iPad, they kind of scan on to some things, and it's really simplistic. But we're also using, phonics and just some basic, what any kindergartner would benefit from, as if they were needing. But working on reading comprehension, language proficiency, and again, it includes all 4 domains over the course of the year. Then we have ILET. This is something that we use 4th grade and up. And again, this is one that kind of accelerates the expressive and receptive. We've kind of talked about expressive being, if you're receptive, you're receiving. Okay, so in listening, you're being the receiver. In comprehension, you're being the receiver. But whenever you're talking about the writing and the speaking, that's where you're the one giving the information. So it's important to make sure that those expressive pieces are worked on as well. And then we have, lastly, just Summit K-12. There's a lot of information there, but basically it is still just a program to supplement what they are doing in the classroom. Keep in mind that STAR test, it's not about every STAR test, it's just your English, your reading. And so it is important to make sure that they are practicing the way that the TELPAS test is, and this is one, Summit K-12 really is the closest thing we have to an actual practice on the test. So it really mimics what it is testing. Okay. And then last year, as far as our parent-family engagement activities, we did send out monthly newsletters in English and Spanish. We did have an internet safety night held at the junior high school and a Spanish community night at the elementary, and that was in April. Of course, our paras that work in the classroom. They're also Spanish speakers, and so they're good to make contact with the students and the homes in the event that they were necessary. And then also we did have our ESL summer school for our littles. And again, so that was something they received. We did kind of a pre-test and an end of summer school test, and those parents were able to get those and receive those. But while I have them here, we do have a whole new staff for our ESL this year, and so I wanted to make sure and introduce them. And so this is Jane Bonda. You can wave, stand up, do a dance. I don't, you know. And then this is Angela Saldivar, and she is acting as our coordinator for this school year. And so we have quite a bit of experience. Jane has a lot of experience. All things bilingual. It's also nice whenever the teachers speak the language too. So I think a few of those kids don't get away with the things that they probably did beforehand. So, but I don't know if you want to say anything, but I just want to let you guys know these ladies, like, we've already dived into the information. We know that our kids are struggling and we want them to be successful. So again, our goal is growth. They're working on things that, you know, I think one of the things that the kids are not used to is working. So, and I mean working in the classroom, and I mean like dedicating time to writing, and that's just, you know, as far as the ESL realm goes. So I appreciate whenever principals say don't lower your standards, you know, and I don't think the parents mind either. So. But we are looking forward to some great things happening with these ladies, and thank you guys for being here. We actually have had our family night this school year, so this is actually from this year. But we did have, I don't know, probably 5, 7 families. And again, you know, it's one of those things where you never know you're going to have 5 or 50. But we did have a good turnout, and you'll notice there at the bottom we had people from the public library. We had Coach Geary there. We had Krista Hitt there. She was talking about GYS, just some, you know, just different activities outside of school. Who did I miss?
That was all. We touched on the marketplace.
Yes, yeah. So we gave them that information, and then also just talked about the testing. Like, we don't want them to be shocked that, oh my gosh, why is my kid having to take a 2-day test in March or whatever. So we kind of, you know, and they asked some really good questions, I felt like. So anyway, we've already had that. And again, at the end, it's basically, how do we want to improve? We want to make sure that we improve our communication, you know, with our parents. I already think that that's a good thing. We've actually done newsletters this year, again, with our new program. And it's Parent Square, and so we've, you know, been able to see that the parents are receiving the information, which is nice. It actually gives it to them in their language, so that's, you know, that's a good start, and we'll be doing that, you know, throughout the school year as well. So again, that's pretty much it. We're just trying to keep everybody updated, and you guys have any questions?
Bridget, we always ask this. Now, 20 is the magic number, right?
Yes.
If you have 20 students who speak the same language
Right.
in a grade, it
Right.
triggers the bilingual program. And it's 5th grade that's so big?
Third grade.
Third.
grade.
And how many are we sitting at in third?
We have 20 kids, but 19 speak Spanish and 1 is Tagalog. So
Okay.
we're like,
So we dodged
get
the
another
bullet.
Spanish kid, we're like.
One more Spanish, it triggers bilingual.
So yeah, and you know, just interestingly enough, we have Vietnamese, Albanian, and the Tagalog. So
Interesting.
in addition to our Spanish. So.
Neat. Well, thank you guys for coming tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Bridget. That was a great report.
No, thank you.
Exhausting.
Yes.
Exhausting, I know.
I'm glad we have this quality staff too.
That's 2 great presentations from her in a row.
Oh,
The last,
Was she here to hear that?
I'm here.
Oh, you bowed down, okay. We are required as board members to take training, and then interestingly enough, I'm required as the board president to report on everyone's training publicly. So here I go. Under State Board of Education rule, completing required continuing education each year of service is a basic obligation and expectation of any sitting board member. As board president, I'm required to announce the name of every person who's completed the required training, has exceeded the required training, or is deficient in the required training. And the required training is in these areas: local district orientation, orientation to the Texas Education Code, post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code, team building, additional continuing education, evaluating student academic performance and setting goals, identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children, and school safety. I often wonder if people who sign up to run for the school board know all of that. So, we do not have any new board members this year, so we don't have that. Orientation to the Texas Education Code. New board members were required to complete orientation to the Texas Education Code for the time period covered by this announcement. We do not have any new board members. Post-legislative update. The following board members have completed this: Alderson, Ament, Ford, Hobson, Kaiser, Lieb, and Maxwell. Team building, completed by all of the board members I just read. Additional continuing education, all of the board members I just read. Evaluating student academic performance and setting goals, all the board members I just read. Identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children, all of the board members I just read. School safety, all of the board members I just read. We do have some board members who've exceeded. Charles Arleson has additional 3 hours, and Mary Ann Lieb has additional 3 hours in training.
Thank y'all.
Okay, so we've been doing our training.
Yes, y'all have.
Now we're going to move into action items, and we'll start with out-of-state trip requests from the junior high.
Yeah, so Jessica Hauser's here tonight. Y'all have already seen her once. She's a teacher at the junior high, and she has been researching an out-of-state trip for the junior high kids to go to Washington, D.C. And so there's some opportunities for them to learn. And Jess, you'll be give the synopsis, or you just take it from here.
Well, I presume they've read the synopsis, I hope.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in this because, for one, my husband leads it at Clifton Junior High, or middle school. They don't call it the junior high. And he's been leading it for, I want to say, 4, maybe 5 years. I can't remember. And then Clifton's been doing it for at least as long as I've been there, which was 10 years before here. So it's a really great program. 8th grade students get to go and experience their history, their nation's history, and then get to see all of the things that, like, they wouldn't normally get to see. Some kids never even leave Texas. The trip is, like, all inclusive. It includes like, it's round trip transportation. It includes all of the sightseeing transportation, any admission fees, the course leader. It's got a 24-hour emergency support, evening activities, opportunity for high school or students to earn high school credit. All the meals are included, all hotel accommodations. It even has night chaperones so that the teachers or parents chaperones who go can get some sleep. Accident health insurance, online educational resources, things like that. That's all included in what students pay. It's not a school-sponsored trip, but it is encouraged by, like, the school. So that's where it comes to the board. We try to meet with the kids at school. We try to get them invested, and then have, like, after school, sometimes we have meetings with parents and get them encouraged. I don't know what else you might want to know.
Just what time of the year would you be taking the trip?
Summer. So this particular trip, my husband's already got it booked for June 9th through 12th, so we would just tag along with their trip. As long as we get 35 kids signed up, or 30, I think it's 35 altogether, they supply a charter bus to take us to the airport and back. So we wouldn't even have to have parents, like, worried about getting their kids to and from the airport as well. But it would be those 4 days, and it's just all inclusive. My daughter went on this trip 2 years ago and she loved it. My youngest son is going to be going on it not this year but the following year, and he's looking forward to it. So it's something that kids really are invested in.
Is this the kind of trip where it's just Clifton and Gatesville kids?
So we would only be partnering up with Clifton because my husband leads that program. If we weren't, we would be partnered up with a different school somewhere else. Sometimes it's Texas schools, sometimes it's non-Texas schools, but they try to get a certain number unless we get that number by ourselves. So I don't know exactly what they try to, I think they get like 35 to 40 together, and then if they get more than that, they kind of, I don't know all the logistics. But yes, we would only be partnering up with Clifton just because
They're
it's
so close.
easier for us.
Are the students representing Gatesville ISD?
Yes and no. They're always representing Gatesville ISD
Okay.
when they're going
Now,
on something.
The reason I asked that is because when I was there several years ago with the high school band, and we went up to the Arlington National Cemetery, and there was schools there from Texas up around the Dallas area, and they were involved in the flag presentation of the changing of the guard.
Okay.
And the school was able to participate in that.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you're gonna take a trip up there, that might be something worth looking into, the changing of the guard and the presentation of a flag.
Definitely. I've never run it before, so I'm not entirely sure what all it entails other than, but
That's
absolutely
pretty
could look into that.
Impressive presentation to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it just anybody who wants to sign up?
So yes, it would be any 8th grade student who wants to sign up, and then of course they can, their parents can sign up, or any teacher chaperones can sign up. There's a number, I don't know the numbers yet, but there's a number of, if a certain number of students sign up, then we can send another teacher with us for free as a chaperone. I do not know those numbers. I think it's 10.
Is there a maximum number you can take?
There is not a maximum number I can take, no.
And will the kids have an opportunity to fundraise?
Yes, so that is another thing that they supplied. Where's it at? There is financial assistance, there's fundraising options, and then there's also payment plans. I know when I signed up with my daughter, we just did a payment plan and it worked out just fine. We had some kids do fundraising. There's even fundraising where they don't even have to go do bake sales or anything. Like they could, there's a QR code or whatever, and their parents or family or whoever can just put towards their trip.
So you feel like it's accessible to anybody who really wants to go?
I really do. And then if there's any kid that wants to go that feels like they can't, I mean, I'm sure we can find a way to help them out.
Dr. Powell would be more than happy.
Just have you broached the subject with the kids yet, or mentioned it in passing? Like, would you be interested in this?
No, I don't want to give up their hopes.
Right. Well, that would, yeah, you'll learn soon enough what the interest level would be.
About how much is the cost?
The cost.
Oh, I see it right there.
Yes.
I see it. I'm sorry. I just
No, it's okay. Yeah.
I see it.
$2,299 per student. If they sign up before, I think it's November 7th, they get a $100 discount. And
Liz, is this similar to the trip that
I was just telling him, it sounds just like it, the process, even the group size. So we ended up having just under 30 that went to Boston last summer.
Okay.
So they were just a little bit short of having their own group, but they said it still wasn't a problem, you know, mingling with the other schools that they were with. But
And they
very
flew
similar.
up there too, Liz, they flew.
What company was it? What company was it?
It's EF Tours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one's World Strides, so competitors.
But similar models.
Similar, yes, very similar.
What other questions y'all have? Any apprehensions?
As long as the administrators and the superintendent feel like this is something that we ought to, I'm willing to go with it. Any further discussion?
Susie?
I honestly did a program like this when I was in 8th grade, and I went to DC, and it was amazing. I'd never been there before, and you know, my parents were like, if you want to do it, go babysit, go earn some money, and they kind of met me halfway, and I did, and it was incredible, absolutely incredible.
I remember my brother Don cooked. He took some to Washington D.C. I don't know whether I don't know if it was junior high school.
Yeah.
I know it's been done in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? Do I hear a motion that we allow this to happen? Okay, Mary Ann, a second? Okay, Lloyd, all in favor? Okay, passes.
Thank you, Jessica.
District improvement plans.
I know y'all are disappointed, but we're not gonna read every page of the district improvement plans.
No, we have.
But you can if you would like to do so. Every year, this time of year, at the October board meeting, we submit the campus and district improvement plans to you guys for approval. We use a program called Plan for Learning to make the plans, to keep the plans up to date. This platform, it has checkpoints throughout the year, 3 checkpoints that we evaluate the plans, mark our progress or lack of progress. These are compliance documents that the state requires from each district, and I'll answer any questions that you have about the plans. We create them over the 3 meetings. They kind of go hand in hand with our Title I and our federal programs meetings. If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If you don't have questions, it's my recommendation to approve the district and campus improvement plans submitted for the 25-26 school year.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion? Okay. We've got a motion to approve. Do I hear a second? We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay.
Well,
Canvas.
we've been so focused on the May bond election, we sometimes forget that there's a November election. And so there'll be some constitutional amendments, I think, and then, of course, our 2 board seats. So election day is Tuesday, November 4th, and a date needs to be determined to conduct the official canvass. The earliest date for the canvass is Friday, November 7th. The last day is Monday, November 17th, so we've got like a 10-day window. Our regular board meeting is on the 17th, but we prefer not to wait until the last possible date just in case anything goes haywire. So 2 board members constitute a quorum, luckily. Only 2 of you will have to do something. And under the Open Meetings Act, though, however, no other school business may be conducted. So my recommendation would be if we had a special meeting to conduct the official local canvass of returns on Thursday, November 13th at 5:30 with Mr. Ament and Ms. Maxwell, who both said they could do it, and that constitutes a quorum. So that's my recommendation.
Any questions? Do you hear a motion? Okay, Calvin, second. Okay, Lloyd, all in favor? Okay, policy update.
Well, we had just done policy update 125, and then we had this last biennium, this legislative session. We got in the mail a box, like about this thick with papers, just policy. And so this is update 126 in response to all those crazy laws that they passed during the summer. And so I read through the synopsis as best we could. A lot of it is small stuff. A lot of it are things that we've already talked about. But again, at the end of the day, thankfully, TASB goes through all that mess and turns it into policy and keeps us safe and out of trouble. And so I would recommend that we replace, add, and delete all the local policies as described in the TASB update 126. Those policy experts and lawyers do a good job of sifting through all that so we don't have to.
Any further questions? Do I hear a motion we accept these? Okay, Calvin, second, Mary Ann. All in favor? Okay, we go to executive session.
All right.